Hey, welcome to Bifocal. We have a pretty interesting show today. We're going to talk about real estate. We're going to talk about buying and selling real estate. We're going to talk about auctioning real estate. We're going to talk about buying and selling businesses. We have an expert that's a part of our guest today, so stay tuned. Hey, welcome back. This is going to be a pretty interesting show, a little different from some of the other shows that we had. We have Dick Kiko of Kiko Realtor and Auctioneers on, and he's going to be talking about what's going on in the real estate market. A lot of change going on right now, especially with COVID. I thought it'd be interesting to kind of talk about where the market is. We'll talk about buying and selling and the auction business. And then he's also involved in another business we'll get into, buying and selling businesses. So I thought that would be interesting. So Dick, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It was probably a little tough getting you up here. I'm sure you're busy.
We're busy this time of year. Absolutely.
Yeah. Is the real estate business seasonal?
Well, the real estate business around residential, very seasonal. It's after school gets out and before school starts.
People want to land before school picks back up.
Exactly. People don't want to have open houses and that disruption of their home life during the school year. So a lot of activity in the summer for buying and selling residential. And that's a big part of our business. Commercial, industrial, farm and land, that's all year long. It's really not affected too much, but the residential drives the seasonality.
Yeah. Are you seeing anything different in the market right now?
You know, you take COVID out of the situation, there's some big dramatic swings that are happening. One is interest rates are extremely low. Buying power is at its all-time high. You could buy more square footage and more value today because you can afford the monthly payment. Interest rates at 2.5%, 3.5% drives a lot of
people buying monthly payments.
Oh yeah,
that's what they're buying.
Yeah, the middle market. You know, you take the low-end homes and the high-end homes. But now the middle market, they're all working month to month, paycheck to paycheck, and how much can they afford on a monthly payment? You know, they're leasing or buying or owning their cars. They buy their house. They do the formula. 38 to 45% of their gross income can be used against a mortgage. Bankers do all that work with them. So it's all about the monthly payment. So the more you can buy with that payment, prices are going up. So that dynamic of the lending and the interest rates have driven real estate hard.
And that's been there the interest rate's been down for a while.
Right. So you have that unemployment at all-time low. People have money. They're all looking to spend it. Baby boomers are downsizing. A lot of movement that way. Baby boomers, big house sold, downsize people. All that is working in the dynamics of that. And the home builders are trying to catch up with the last housing crisis. So that's another dynamic that's driving the big lever, supply and demand. We are at a low supply of housing right now. Builders cannot build houses fast enough to maintain demand. Surprisingly enough, people think there's all these houses, there's not enough.
So that means it's a seller's market?
Seller's market. Supply is low, demand is high, prices go up, interest rates are low, prices can go up higher. All that's happening. You'll see residential homes right now are very frothy. They'll sell within 3 or 4 days, multiple bidders, multiple buyers, and it's really a quick pace environment.
I've heard of cases where people actually are getting more than they're asking for. People are bidding for their homes. They want them so bad.
Yeah.
You see any of that kind of stuff?
You see a house between, in this region of the state, $150,000 to $350,000, and that's the middle part. You'll see multiple offers in 24, 48 hours. At price or better. Yeah, it's a very, very quick pace. And buyers are getting frustrated because they'll lose, opportunities because they go that fast.
Yeah.
And builders are building houses at a record pace. And then on the commercial, industrial side, business was good. Everybody's looking for space. Warehousing, it's interesting, went down and now it's coming back up as a demand. Supply is low. All these at-home deliveries are driving warehouses space. So there's a lot of dynamics that are working outside of COVID, the pandemic. On industrial office space, all that was just doing really well. Wasn't doing bad, but it wasn't doing great. It was kind of just hanging in there. So then COVID hits, and then the dynamics change. The economy basically gets shut off. People's cash flow starts to get less. They get tight. They get nervous. Spending stops. So everybody kind of takes a pause.
Yeah.
to see what's going to happen. So that's kind of where we're almost out of that pause right now, but that's kind of where we are.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you see it loosening at all?
Yeah, I
And
do.
what would be your signs? Just real estate starting to sell more? I mean, what are you looking for?
Yeah, what's the understanding of the future is becoming more clear for people. They can kind of see how this is going to affect, especially on the business side. Do I need more office space or less office space? A lot of folks think the office space is going to go down. Well, let me tell you, the word on the street is office space is going to be healthy. Why? You need twice as much of it. Before you had 100 people in this space, now you need 100 people in way more space because everybody's going to be spread out.
Yeah, but how do you answer the people that say, nah, I don't think the office space is going to be as big because people are going to work from home. People don't want office.
Yeah,
What's that debate?
Yeah, I think a lot of my peers, we're not sure. I think you and I were talking about earlier. We're in a honeymoon phase. Everybody's claiming the productivity.
So yet to be seen.
The productivity of the home worker was great during COVID because no one was leaving their house. And I tell people, let's see what happens during the 4th of July week. How's productivity? A lot of distractions that week. How about the week before and after a vacation holiday? What's the productivity? Now let's get into the winter months when there's Christmas time and the productivity. I don't know. I hope the productivity stays well, but I think a lot of it's going to move back to the office setting.
Yeah.
We're creatures of habit. I think we have this honeymoon phase, and I think office is going to be okay.
Eventually, people want to get back to what they're used to.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people that are working at home that have distractions, pets, kids, neighbors, whatever, they want to come back. Yeah. So I'm not a predictor of that, but I think there's a lot of reasons why it's going to not go that far off of what it was.
So as a realtor, you're CEO of Kiko Realtor, Kiko Auctions.
Yeah, Kiko Realtors, Auctioneers, and Advisors. Yeah.
Okay. What are some of the key indicators you guys watch for in the market that you might be looking out that says, oh, hey, this is going to affect us? What are those things?
Yeah, a big one is the interest rates. For all facets of business, residential, commercial, industrial, interest rates drive a lot of momentum. People will spend money when interest rates are low, and they'll invest in what they have when interest rates are high. So it's really the interest rates is the big key driver. And then the economy. The economy drives a lot of momentum. If unemployment's low, people have money to spend, and they'll go around the economic engine. They get money, they buy something, they enjoy it, they get rid of it, and they buy something better. And they go around and around. A good analogy or a good example would be the car industry does the same thing. Economy goes down, people don't spend. Economy goes up, people spend. Same thing happens on real estate.
Same thing.
Yeah.
What did you see when the COVID hit? Was it like somebody put the brakes on? Was it that drastic in the real estate industry, or you just started seeing it tightening up?
Well, the real estate industry was like a faucet, just literally shut off.
It was that
just shut down.
That drastic.
Yeah, we had contracts, and most brokers did that. Basically, they stopped. People said, "I'm not selling. I'm doing nothing until this sorts itself out." And I think that happened across the board. But the spigot just stopped. And about 4 weeks in, people started asking questions. We started seeing the horizon kind of starting to loosen up, and people started doing more and more and more. Depends on how much they needed the money. A lot of people needed the money, so they said, "Let's do it now." And our success was high. I mean, when you were selling a house during COVID, you were the only house being sold. So you get a lot of attention.
Is there a lot of investors out there at that time? People that have the money and they're looking for deals?
Yeah.
Is that sector out there?
Well, remember, interest rates are counterintuitive to cash. When interest rates are high, a lot of cash buyers in the market because they can buy less. Interest rates are low, these cash buyers have to compete against buying power. So buying power is still strong on both sides. There is cash in the market looking for deals, always will be and always has been. But the interest rates are making them pay more money because the buying power is heavier.
Yeah.
So it's really a mix right now. A lot of people are borrowing money right now because they think the economy is going to take this dip and come out. So they're getting in debt now at low interest rates, and it's at record low on business loans as well as capital
They're
loans.
getting in debt now to buy property.
Yeah, to buy property or to do
As investment or personal?
Both. There's a lot of people still bullish on a rental market. That's one that I think is going to have some change.
Where do you see that going in the future? You know, we had this big swing. You mentioned the auto industry. We had this big swing there for and it started a while back. Leasing was everybody was leasing, right? Yeah. Nobody wanted to own the car. Do you ever see the real estate market getting that way, where you got this top tier of people that they own everything, and nobody really wants to own their home? They're just rent it.
Well, when interest rates are high, buying power is low, I can afford my monthly rent. I just can't afford to buy a house. That drives a lot of the rental. You'll see the rental change. But this last wave of rental was urban development. Everybody, all the millennials, a lot of people wanted to move into the city. A lot of cities were developing apartment complexes and developing housing. Cleveland was in it and still is in it.
Wanted to live in downtown.
In the city. The people wanted to move. Walkability was a big phrase. Move into the city, move closer to the city. Well, COVID kind of turned that a U-turn. Now all of a sudden, the millennials, a lot of them are thinking, I'm going to move back to the suburbs. So it's just a cycle. But the apartments are still a viable way for a young career person to get into housing. Yeah. You know, they can't afford a house yet. So we're cycling through that. We'll always see it. What you'll see on residential multi-unit housing is when interest rates are low, the buying power is high, people are building new apartment complexes. So the new apartment complex, the apartment rents for $1,000. The 25-year-old apartment rents for $1,000. Where's the market going to go? They're going to go to the new. Yeah. So you're going to see this decline. The older inventory starts to decline because they're competing against new inventory.
I had apartments. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what happened to me. Right. Around me was getting brand new ones. Mm-hmm. Yeah. $100 more, you can have a brand new one, and
right.
So it just starts.
It cycles through.
It cycles through.
Yeah. So you're seeing a lot of that cycle through, and really the irony for those folks are we built great apartment complexes in the 50s and 60s. There's a lot of beautiful brick apartments, 4-unit, 6-unit, 8 units that are out there, but they're old. So what's the new millennial want? They want the new. So it's really a challenge for those owners to compete.
Yeah. With any trends going on, like type of homes people are looking for now, and what do you see?
And I'm not an expert in the housing side at all. I'm more commercial industrial, but I see the houses are getting smaller. Some of the smaller. Some of the millennials, they even call them tiny houses. They're little. They're 1,200 square foot house, 1,500 square foot houses. They're minimalizing. They spend all their time outside. A lot of the millennials are in this mindset of, why would I want to be in the house? I want to be outside. Highly active, highly recreational, highly outside. So the houses are getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
I go to work all day, and then I want to play.
Yep.
I don't want to take care of the home.
Exactly. They saw their parents go through the last housing crisis, going, you were strapped with this big mortgage. I don't want to do that. I don't know why we have a 4-bedroom house.
So where do the condos fit, you think, in that
condos
mentality?
That's a great question. The condominiums are more about convenience. I don't have to mow. I don't have to shovel. I don't have to worry about the exterior.
I think that would be good for the millennial, right?
The millennials are more suited to tiny house or apartments. Kind of the same convenience factor. You'll see a lot of the baby boomers are downsizing into condominiums. I think the condominiums are very well suited for security and comfort and camaraderie in that closed community. And I think the baby boomers really see that as it's an attraction, and it is. And condos are going up right now. Condos are in demand because of the baby boomers are all downsizing.
Yeah. You talked about you spend a lot of time on the commercial side. Mm-hmm. What are you hearing from landlords right now? What's their worry, their concern?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's 3 categories of commercial landlords. One would be your multi-unit housing. The other one would be retail. And the next one would be office commercial. And the last one, I guess there's another one, would be your industrial, your manufacturing, heavy industrial. The multi-unit housing, we kind of talked about that. Your retail, I think that's a very scary place. Retail is going through this metamorphosis that I don't know if anybody can predict where it's coming out. It's a massive shift.
I heard, let me know if you've heard this, I heard that the shopping malls as we know them today will not exist in sometime here in the near future. Those shopping malls are going to be converted and morphed into entertainment centers, boutique type shops. Mm-hmm. The anchor stores, they're gone.
Right.
And they'll be congregating places for social, whether it's movie theaters, bowling alleys, the laser tag stuff,
Right.
the restaurants.
It's interesting because there's a Sears. I read today, the last Sears in Ohio is shutting down. The last
Where's
big
that
box
at?
Sears is up north, one of the malls up north. I don't know what town it's in, but it's shutting down. The one down in Canton, the Sears is now a Dave & Buster's.
Okay, so there you go.
They're using that cube space to do other things. The zoning permits that. I think you're going to start seeing some of those big box stores become warehouses. Unfortunately, they were a warehouse that people could shop at. Now they're going to be a warehouse people can shop at because it's delivered.
Yeah.
Just a different, who would have thought you're going to get your groceries delivered to you? Well, during COVID or the pandemic, a lot of people.
That's hot right now.
Big time.
A lot of people are ordering their groceries.
I get home and there's produce on the counter and there's bread in the shelf and the pantry's full and the grocery store came right to our door.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. So that kind of retail is going to shift dramatically to different use of those cube spaces. Again, the fundamentals, the big lever stuff in real estate is location, location, location. The boutique shops are going to do fine. The unique locations are going to do fine. But the destination, like the mall that's 25 miles away from our house, people aren't going to do that anymore. They're going to order online, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to see some shifting there. You're going to see some zoning changes, I think. It's going to be painful for a lot of communities to say, here's the old grocery store that's now a machine shop. Or here's the old big box Sears store that's now a warehouse. A lot of those zoning don't match those uses. And you're going to see some of that change because those building spaces are obsolete.
Well, I have to believe if that happens, then that changes the whole real estate market, right?
It would shift the whole market around.
Oh,
Yeah.
now all the values up and down and
Start
all
to
of that.
swing. That's right. But it's going to go through that because you have these. Northeast Ohio is a very mature marketplace. These buildings have been here. It's not surprising to walk up to a building that's been here for 50, 60, 100 years. It's not like the South and the Southeast where a lot of those communities are new. Yeah. So we're dealing with the transition from old to new, and it's painful. Communities change, and we're going to go through that. On the industrial side, Northeast Ohio, I think we're going to be okay. We kind of went through our whole decline when China took over, but I think that's going to start to settle out. We're finding our new normal, I guess. And manufacturing, I think, will come back a little bit. So it's a pretty healthy market, the industrial space. But the warehouse space is in demand. If you have a warehouse space, modern building, it's full of something.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to watch, but it is in a flux.
Yep. I think it's going to be interesting to watch the office space. Mm-hmm. I'm still waiting to see what's going to happen there.
Yeah, I am too, and I'm not as bullish as some of my friends on the at-home workers. I think it's going to go. I think we're in a honeymoon stage.
Yep.
And I think we're going to come back to working together, gathering together, leveraging mind and body power together. Yep. It works. It works for thousands of years, and it's not going to shift that quickly, in my opinion.
Yeah. But you do got a new generation coming up, right? They want to test it. They want to push it. Yeah, they've been forced into it.
Right. And you have technology. I mean, who thought of Zoom, right? I mean, that was like a big deal, having a video conference. Now it's simple. Yeah. So there's technology.
Families are doing it, right? Families do it. We do. Yeah. Wednesday night, we're having a Zoom meeting with mom and dad and brothers and sisters.
I mean, FaceTime is big, and Zoom and things. I think it's going to change it, but we'll see. I mean, salespeople have always worked outside the office in the last 50, 60 years, and I think it's going to be very unique. I think the person and the job have to be a unique combination.
They got to be aligned.
Yeah,
they got to be aligned. And it's got to be the right person to work at home.
Yep.
So how about the auction business? I mean, everyone knows what an auction is, right?
Well, you would think so. I mean, auction is, and this is something that people don't really know. Auction is one of the oldest professions in the world. The first recorded auction was 700 years BC. That's before Jesus was born. I mean, that's a long time ago. And auctions back then were used to create liquidity, to create cash. War plunder was sold at auction. Well, if I took over a nation and I got all their assets, I can't eat that. I can't spend that. They had to auction it. They auctioned it off. The Roman Empire auctioned off a lot of their war plunder. And then ironically coincidentally, at the end of the Roman Empire was going down its demise, they were selling off their stuff to get money because they were going broke. So auctions have been around for a long, long time. The challenge in this country, for some reason, the auctions got a bad rap. And I don't know if it was the Depression era or what, but something flipped the switch of the perception of auctions from being something very good to being something not so good.
And not so good as what?
I'm financially in trouble. It's my last resort. Somebody died, so I'm selling their stuff.
Got to move it quick.
The poor, pathetic seller has to do auction, and he's going to get taken, and he's going to get nothing for his property. That is so far from the truth that it kind of hurts me, because I see it happen with our business every day. Most of our sellers' expectations are exceeded. We don't do business to hurt people.
Yeah.
But
if I'm a seller, I'm just going to play devil's advocate, all right, just for the sake of conversation. Sure. I'm a seller. You convince me to auction my home. I am at the mercy of whoever shows up. What if it rains?
Right. Well, first of all, I'm not going to convince you to auction your home. You're going to pick it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down with you and explain to you there's dramatic benefits of an auction and there's dramatic benefits of a listing. They both work, but they do it different ways.
Okay.
So the auction, I'm going to market and promote your property to attract all the bidders to come. Well, guess what? They'll be there because it's defined by a date and a time.
So people are coming, it's because they have a specific interest in that particular property.
And if you hire the right auction firm, the market says on 4 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, it'll have a new buyer because Kiko's selling it. So the market pays attention. We've been around for 75 years, so our reputation is there. Oh, there's a Kiko sign on that property. They're going to have a new owner when this is done, because that's what we do. So the people come. It's like a wedding. I'll invite you over for dinner every weekend until the cows come home and you never make it. But if I have a wedding and it's set in a date and a time, it's an event, you'll probably be there. It's an event. So that's one of the benefits to the seller is I'm going to send an event. Market's going to pay attention. Now here's the counterintuitive of auction. Guess who comes on the rainy day? Everybody. Why?
Because they don't think anyone else
They don't think anybody else is going to come. Some of our best auctions are when the weather's the worst. Because they have nothing else to do, and they think everybody else is going to stay home. But it's really not, it's not that dramatic. The people who want it are going to be there. You only need 2 who are going to compete. But the people who want it are going to be there. You know, the tire kickers, they may go to the picnic instead on a sunny day. It's probably more dangerous. The best sunny day after 5 days of rain. Yeah. Everybody needs to cut their grass. Guess who's not coming? The guys who have to cut their grass, or the girls who have to cut their grass.
And you're auctioning not just homes, you're auctioning businesses and property.
Land, buildings, multi-unit housing, residential. We've been doing it for 75 years, 3rd generation. We've sold everything and anything.
So what generation are you?
I'm third.
You're
third
generation. So
my grandfather
started the business 75 years ago.
Yep, 1945. He had 10 boys, 3 girls. 7 of his boys got in the business, and that was 2nd generation. Now we have about 29 3rd generation in the business, a couple 4th generation coming on board. In our business, we have about 125 people, and 56 of us are related.
Wait, say that again. How many people?
We have about 125 folks in our business, and 56 of us are related.
So it's still very much a family
business.
Yep.
For
75 years.
Yep. You walk around on your toes because you got a lot of family watching you, right? A little bit different dynamics. Healthy. It's very good. You love each other. It's good.
So how many, what percent of your auctions are you auctioning? We'll go back to the homes. Are you auctioning the home, the property, but you're also auctioning content?
Yeah, we do personal property, and then real estate. It's one of the benefits of a homeowner if they want to sell their house and their stuff.
It's a big benefit then.
It's a big benefit. You can do both. I mean, I tell some of our salespeople, just tell the client, give you the keys and you'll handle everything. And literally that's what we'll do. We really hand in glove. One of our best situations is in estate. Somebody passes away, mom and dad live in Northeast Ohio, they pass away, and son and daughter lives in Texas and California. They come into town, trust us, hand us the keys, we'll liquidate it all, and you'll get as much or more money than you would have gotten by going through the other methods.
Yep.
But we sell the personal property and the stuff. And the beautiful part about that for a benefit of an auction is it works in tandem. If I'm selling the corner cabinet in the family room in the house, the ranch house in, say, Firestone Park, the people looking online at the corner cabinet may look at the house and go, wow, they're selling the house. People looking at the house may say, wow, they're selling a corner cabinet. They actually create a double effect of marketing and draw. They work in tandem.
Yeah.
And they really do. It's fascinating how people will come to the auction going, I would never known this was for sale unless I saw that you were selling the Toyota. Things like that. It's just really the marketing draw and the marketing effort really is compounded.
So you got a market out there they're following you.
Yeah, we've years ago, before the internet, we had our own publication. We produced our own paper. All it was in that paper was our auctions. And we would send that paper out to 5,000 to 6,000, 7,000 people. And every year we'd purge the list and start over. And it got up to be about 15,000 people. And we're sending basically our website out on print. Internet comes, and so we convert the paper into the website and all that stuff. KikoAuctions.com is the home of our auctions, and KikoRealestate.com is the home of our real estate. But we get over 1,300,000 page views a month on our website. And some auctions can get up to 5, 10, 15,000 page views in a 3-week period on that property. Our following has gotten to be
crazy.
A little overwhelming. Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of activity.
You're probably seeing a lot of the same people out in the auctions, people following you?
When you get into collectibles and things, there's a crowd for classic cars, a crowd for firearms, a group of people for the antiques, collectibles, gold coins and things. But on the real estate side, it shifts dramatically. People want that house, move to the next. It's really unique. The real estate is driven more by the unique desire to own that property. So the crowd shifts fast.
So is every one of your auctions in person? Do you have any online auctions?
Yeah, about 2004, we started doing online simulcast auctions. I'm on site, and I'm going to invite the internet to participate during that live auction.
They can bid online.
They can bid online. In 2004, we did our very first simulcast auction, and it was actually an auction I did down in Salesville, Ohio, south of Canton. And we sold antique tractors and classic cars at that auction. And I got a call the night before at 3 o'clock in the morning from a gentleman out of Australia. I'm like, how can I help you? He goes, I want to buy those tractors tomorrow. And I want to make sure I'm registered online. I said, did you do this? And he said, yep, I'm online. Perfect. Guess you bought 4 of those tractors the next day. A bidder from Australia.
And had them shipped over.
It took us, I wish it was that easy. It took us a little while to get those agricultural equipment through customs, but he got them through customs and he got them to Australia. Why? He found us. I said, how did you find us? He goes, you were 14 pages down in my website search. But I wanted these models and I wanted these tractors because I live in the outback. Literally, there's an outback in Australia. He goes, I have a machine shop. I make all my own parts, and I needed one of these for parts, and I needed 2 of these to work. In the fourth one, he goes, I just wanted it. So it was a marketplace that was now global. Boom, we're global.
Yeah.
We just sold recently 3 or 4 coins to a buyer in Austria, our first sale to Austria. So we sell firearms all over the country.
So the online's mainly collectible type stuff?
No,
or?
Real estate side, we're now doing real estate online. The pandemic kind of drove us quicker. We like having the on-site buyers there because you can answer questions and the flexibility dynamics of an auction. Well, with the COVID and the pandemic, we are simulcasting all of our real estate now. And it's interesting because it's as much or more of a convenience bid. Safety, if you want to call it now. I don't want to go out. I want to stay home. So the bidder can be right down the street bidding on their computer as we're having the auction down the street. I'll give you an example. About 10 years ago, we sold a bunch of mineral rights, gas and oil rights, under the surface. There's no reason to go on site because you can't see it. So we had the auction in our office. We sold over $2 million mineral rights, and a buyer bought a third of them online who was 2 miles down the road.
Now, when you do that, is the land tested prior to the auction? Do they know what they're getting?
Oh, yeah. We do all the documentation and all the research prior. Yeah, I mean, we're getting off in the weeds a little bit, but on the real estate side, we'll do a full abstract and a full title search. When you come to buy real estate at an auction, the title work is done. There's an owner's policy right there that you will be given if you're the highest bidder, general warranty deed typically. So all that is done. So when you come to buy at auction, it is you could close it out in 10 days. It's ready to go because there's no contingencies.
Yeah,
it's another benefit of a seller. You're selling it as is. So the buyer has to do all their due diligence prior. So we give them all the information they're going to need.
Typically, how long is a product on the market before it's auctioned?
About 3 weeks.
And
3-week window.
Are people allowed to go to the property and look there? So they could send people in, look at the roof and the HVAC. They could check stuff out.
Yeah, you can do all the inspections prior that you want. Some do, some don't. You know, some come out the day of the sale. A lot of them will come out that day or the day before and do all their inspections. But all that has to be done prior to. But one of the benefits of an auction is the seller has an auction because they don't want all that abrasion. They don't want all that interference in their life.
Yep.
So we manage that with our seller to help the buyers look. So everything's on a organized appointment type of a setting. But we help our buyers buy. We're trying to get the most we can, right?
Sure.
For our sellers. So we're going to do everything we can to help.
Well, I'm sure you have repeat business, right?
Yeah,
you got repeat.
Yeah.
And if it did well, then the word of mouth. I mean, it's just like everything else.
Absolutely. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Now you started another business that's buying and selling, but not necessarily homes.
Right. What I have found in this economic engine, you earn, you buy, you enjoy, you sell. You go around and around and around. When I started doing more business in commercial real estate, I'm bumping into businesses that like, can you sell my business? I'm like, I don't know. So over the last 10 years, I've cultivated and developed a network of business owners that we're helping them buy and sell businesses, which is a very unique, intricate process. A lot of moving parts, a lot of things that need to be understood by both parties.
What's the name of that business?
CXO, Growth Partners. It's a little business that works with buyers and sellers that basically you're buying the business assets and the goodwill, the trade names, the trademarks, things like that. Most businesses that are called middle market or small businesses, you're not buying the stock. You're not trading stocks, you're trading assets, and that's what CXO primarily does.
So you get involved in succession plans?
Succession planning, when you have a second generation or third generation owner who wants to liquidate it, we'll help them manage that process, find them a buyer. I just got a call today, someone wants to sell their business. I'm going to sit down with them, kind of do an inventory of all the assets, look at all their goodwill, their trademarks, patents, anything they might have that we can create value. Yep. In their last 3-year profit and loss statements, look at their employees, who wants to stay business brokering, just like a big business would sell. It's just a smaller version. You know, I tell people all the time, business is business, no matter how many zeros you have at the end of your EBITDA. It's business. Yep. You know, you're making $10 a day or you're making $1 million a day, you're kind of doing business.
How has COVID affected that? Have you seen any well, man, people now are looking at, it might be a good time for me to get out. It's that private business owner. He's had it for years.
Right.
What do you see?
A lot of second generation, our owners went through the last recession and worked hard to recover. And some of them are not up for the fight. And they're like, it's time. In the last recession wore out a lot of people. It was tough coming out of that recession. And now this hit them again, and that's what you see. It's not the first recession that drives them to retire, it's the second one. So you see a lot of that happening now. You also see a shift, I think, in the whole global marketplace. Some of these older businesses can't afford to modernize. You know, think about the grocery store. The modern grocery store looks way different than the 25, 30-year-old grocery store. And to get to that level, they can't afford to modernize, so they sell. A lot of this business, the machine shops and the manufacturing facilities, you know, they can't afford to compete because to recreate the production, it's just too expensive. So they sell. So that's happening. That always will happen. This time around, we're still waiting. I think the whole manufacturing world is waiting to see this outcome. The May numbers came out and shocked a lot of people. Shocked me. I thought May was going to be really low. Unemployment got better. Businesses are starting to rev up again. I think we're going to be better than a lot of people thought.
Yeah.
So that's business brokering is going to be there, but it's not going to be as heavy.
Well, it's not like 2008, 2009, right?
Right.
I mean, the economy wasn't good.
Right.
The economy was booming prior to this.
Yep.
So that's a plus.
There's a couple industries going to get hammered, right? The hospitality industry. I think we're going to see a lot of restaurants go through the cycle, unfortunately. But I tell people all the time, 3 restaurants go down, guess what happens? 3 new restaurants come up. So I hope there's some deals being made there that benefit everybody. I hope, versus liquidate and then recreate liquid. I hope it doesn't go that far, but we'll see. Hotel market's going to be affected, I think. The entertainment market's affected. Yep. So those industries are going to have a little bit of cleansing, but I'm hoping manufacturing, light manufacturing are going to be okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not an economist, but I just have the tone.
Yeah, I think the travel industry is going to be affected a little bit too. With all of this COVID, you mentioned technology a little earlier. Everyone's doing video conferencing.
Right.
It's pretty inexpensive.
Right.
Why you want to put somebody on a plane and
right. So I mean, the notion that I'm fine is being a family business guy. I kind of relate to those emotional decisions, and I'll tell you what, there are scary decisions that need to be made. When your family, multi-generations, this was their livelihood, and all of a sudden they're at this place of what do we do next? Well, in my opinion, people get afraid. I got afraid. We get afraid because there's so much on the line. It's just not me and my employees. It's my family's business. So they get fearful. And I try to come in and kind of go, let's talk about this. Let's figure this out. A lot of opportunities, a lot of alternatives. And it's not about me making a commission. It's about them figuring out their plan. And if I have the service, that's why CXO was created, because those services popped up. I need help selling my business. Well, I'm an auctioneer of real estate. Well, this is kind of bubbled out of that. Yeah. And with my background, it fit my passion, my energy, and my skill.
A lot of common denominators, right?
A lot, yeah. It's the economic engine. I mean, I keep coming back to that. Yeah. But people buy stuff, hopefully they enjoy it. Yeah. And then we don't want it anymore, they got to liquidate it.
How often is the business owner his or her worst enemy?
A lot. Unfortunately, we all are. I think I sit down with folks and I really talk through what they're trying to do, and they start to really analyze it from a different person's perspective. And more than not, the obstacle in the way is ourselves. We don't want to move. We're kind of, I hear words like, this is the way we've always done it. And that's a big red flag. For me, to you, it's okay, because I've been successful for 50 years. This is the way we've done it. I'm over here going,
and I'll return to that.
Exactly.
Right? We'll return back to that.
And I'm over here going, uh-oh. That's not a bad thing, but it could be a catastrophic thing. Yeah. So those are the things that we get in our comfort zone. And, retirement is not, I told my dad this before he passed away, retirement's not, stopping. Retirement's finding a new passion. You can't have a passion forever. Well, some people, I guess, do. But what happens is the third generation or the next generation needs to have the passion to take over. Yep. Or you find someone. Yep. And that's kind of what I do.
And their ideas aren't yours.
No.
And thank God sometimes it's not, right? Thank God it's not yours sometimes. Right.
Sometimes you have to move away.
Sometimes you got to, sometimes. Yeah, but I mean, I think too, the younger generation too has good ideas.
Yeah.
And then there's things that, we would look and say, whoa, man, I don't know.
Well, and the beauty, all my auctioneers, realtors, and myself included, we really sit down with people and we ask this question in different ways, but what is your goal? What are you trying to do? Because I have access to these solutions. I don't know which one's the best for you yet. I'm not even probably going to tell you what to do. You're going to pick one of them. But what are you really trying to do? How often do you get asked that question? What are you really wanting to do here? Yeah. Do you want to downsize? Do you want to move to Florida?
That's a good question, because being a business owner, you get caught up in the gerbil and the wheel sometimes. Mm-hmm. And you really don't step back sometimes and say, what am I really trying to accomplish, as much as I just got to keep going.
Right on.
I just got to keep moving.
Yep.
And I think asking that question that's pretty big. You're probably stopping them in their tracks a little bit.
Yeah, right now there's one topic that's coming up. People need liquidity. They need cash, right? And this is the sad part about a recession or a pandemic, is the banks get tighter. They scrutinize your credit ability. There's, all that kind of tightens up. So all of a sudden you need money. The bank's like, nope, we're done giving you money. Well, people will call me kind of going, what is my truck worth? I need to sell some stuff to generate cash. Well, I kind of look at it a different point of view. Let's walk around and look at your non-working capital. What aren't you using? The 80 acres down the street you've owned for 4 generations, help me with that. Or the 5 trucks, you only use 2 of them. How about the 3 trucks? So I walk around with clients, and a lot of my auctioneers, realtors do, and go, what's not working for you? I'll give you a great example. A couple of years ago, one of my friends was looking for some cash liquidity. I walked around his yard. He had 4 piles of scrap iron. I said, that one has a tree that's like 9 inches diameter growing out of it. He goes, yeah, we've had that forever. Dad had that back in the day. I said, why don't we sell that? You can sell that? We sold $54,000 worth of scrap iron off of his yard. It's been sitting there for years. And one of his managers was with him. Oh, we were going to haul that to the scrap iron and scrap it out. Well, that was 15 years ago, and 20 years ago, and 30 years ago. We had an auction. We sold it all in one day. It was gone. Plus, we sold some of his trucks he wasn't using and other things. So it's a way to create liquidity. Yeah. And really, what I do and our people do is we come in and kind of make you think about it different.
Yeah. But you probably have you have options for them, right? I can find you a buyer.
Right.
I could find you an acquisition, right? You probably got different forms that you could bring, or different options to bring to the table for them.
Yeah, absolutely. We can list it for sale. We can auction it off as a seller. We might even have a buyer that we already know. The person who called me this morning with a business to sell, I already thinking of 2 people I'm going to call tomorrow to possibly want to buy that. So we're in the world of this whole economic engine. We're working it all the time. So we have buyers and sellers all the time. On the way here, actually, I'm in my car. I get an email from a realtor out of Cleveland going, I have a client looking for this warehouse. I call my brother and say, hey, so-and-so has a warehouse to sell. Why don't you call him? So we're always working to help clients put their goals together. Yep. So a lot of the auction's not our only option. I mean, auctions might be the worst option for you, maybe the best, until we have a conversation.
Well, isn't that the value of Kiko? Yeah. Is you have a lot of different options to bring to the table.
Yeah. A lot of experience. Being a 4th generation company, a lot of wisdom in there that we tap into. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I have associates in there that are doing this for 50 years. So when I have a question, I go to the wise sage that has the answers.
Somebody's done it.
Somebody's done it.
Somebody's done it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's not going away.
No.
There's always going to be people buying and selling. Right?
It's pretty fundamental. It hasn't changed. Just the stuff has changed.
Stuff's changed. And it's also, there's a lot of people who buy and sell that don't do it very often.
Right.
And if you don't do it very often, you can get burned, right?
Yeah, exactly. I kind of get up on my toes a little bit about why would not someone ask advice on how to liquidate their number 1 asset they've ever owned?
Yep.
And then they just call, my friend has a kid in the business. And you're going to call the kid in the business? This is your biggest asset you've ever owned. Hire someone who knows what they're doing. Interview multiple people. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Don't do it flippantly, but people do it all the time.
Yep.
All the time. I have lost business to my nephew's son who just got his license. And I'm sitting here going, you're not seeing the big picture here. Not that they couldn't do the fundamentals, but there's way more to it. It's a big transaction.
It is. It is. And if you've never done it, you don't know where to start, right?
No.
You just don't know where to start.
Right.
I think it's interesting, the business you said, the auction business you said, that went back to 700 BC, and people have been selling chattel and property and everything for years, and it's not going away.
No.
The method of doing it is changing. You're doing online stuff now, right? That wasn't even in the picture 75 years ago when your grandpa started the business.
Right.
Right. And so things change, and I think people you gotta be open to that change. I know as a business owner, you gotta be open to change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You gotta be open to it. And the way you do things today, maybe it worked the last 5-10 years. Is it going to work? Hope it does, but if it doesn't, you better have a plan, right?
Right, exactly. The biggest change is the delivery vehicle of information. Ask anybody who used to work for a publisher, right? I mean, the delivery vehicle, just like this podcast, it's a new delivery vehicle. Yep. Technology has shifted the landscape of how information is being delivered to people. Yep. And you have to adapt,
or your
message doesn't get delivered. It doesn't. If you don't figure it out, no one's hearing it.
Nope.
And that's the thing that we have done anyway, is we've really tried to figure out those nuances of getting the people who want to know the right information, the right timing, and the right delivery vehicle. And then guess what? they read it,
Yeah.
or they see it,
Yeah.
right?
So what's your passion? What drives Dick Kiko Jr.?
I'm a pretty competitive guy. I like to set up a goal post theoretically and reach it.
You're a goal guy.
I'm a goal guy. You know, I sit down with the client. What are you trying to achieve? And we set up a strategy and a plan. And I execute the plan, and I typically achieve the goal. I'm really driven that way. At the same time, I'm a very Christ-centered person. I strike a balance. You know, my first neighbor is my family and my wife. It's not my work, so I really try to strike a balance in that and stay focused on that. Because if that's out of whack, as you know, it goes bad.
Is it difficult being a Christ-centered person in business world today?
It shouldn't be. No, for me, it's not. I've walked away from a lot of deals that I didn't think were right, and I don't persuade people to do things that I think are wrong. I think ultimately that's who I answer to, not to the banker or the mortgage to the house, but you know, I really try to do what's right. You know, I try to do what's in the best interest of the client, and I think over time, you know, that creates integrity, and being Christ-centered, I have a good barometer.
Yeah.
You know, if you believe in Jesus or not, it's still someone that has a lot of wisdom that can help us kind of get centered.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you can't. How do I say it? If your name no longer carries any integrity,
Yeah.
you don't have a whole lot, right?
Right. Exactly.
You don't have a whole lot.
Exactly right. And you know, it's about balance. We all have to. You can't overindulge.
Ultimate balance. Mm-hmm. You're CEO of Kiko, right?
Right.
Auctioneer Realtor Advisors. You're founder, partner, and founding partner of CXO.
Yep.
How do you find balance? How's that? What's that look like in the day in the life of?
Yeah. It's busy in my mind. I kind of have the ability to categorize work. I also put, you know, everybody always says you're only as good as your people. I surround myself with terrific people, and I want to be held accountable for my role, and I hold them accountable for their role. So we have a lot of meetings and a lot of dialogue to determine who's going to do what. And once we're done with that conversation, it gets done. So it's not delegation, it's actually working the plan together. And I have a lot of terrific people that I work with and I work for, and they work for me. It all comes together. But I think it's easy to do when you have a plan and you execute the plan.
Yep.
You know, it's not a cliche. If failing the plan is planning to fail. You know, Covey said that, and that's brilliant. It's fundamental, and that's really what keeps me going. I got young children at home, and you know, when I'm with them, I'm with them. When I'm with the client, I'm with the client.
Are you able to turn it off?
Yeah, I learned a long time ago when I was in sales with Procter & Gamble, my home office, as a young sales guy, I couldn't turn it off. And my boss, who was a veteran, saw it, and he said, "Lock your door." Back then we had fax machines, right? And orders are coming in on the fax machine at 7 o'clock at night. I hear the fax machine, and I want to run and unlock the door. And Dave, his name was Dave Benson, he said, "Just lock the door. Don't go in that room until tomorrow morning." And I really struggled with that. But over time, I understood what he said. You know, you got to shut it down. Because you'll never, ever, ever be without something to do.
Yeah.
Ever. You know, I don't care who you are, there's always more to do.
Yep.
So just push it off to the next day.
Yeah.
You know. And also, I think too, I'm not afraid to say no. I'm not afraid to say wait. You know, you got to make choices. And being a yes man is not what I am.
Doesn't pan out.
No, you got to be disciplined.
Yeah.
You know.
If somebody wanted to reach out to you, how do they find you?
Oh, they could go to our website, KikoCompany.com, and find me there. And then go to KikoAuctions.com and find me there. They could call my office down in Canton, 330-453-9187. And they could email me at dkiko@kikocompany.com.
Good.
Yeah.
So you think the outlook's good?
I think so. I think the American worker is resilient. I think we're going to bounce back quickly. And we're innovative, hardworking. I'm very bullish on that. As I get older, I get more bullish on it. Very, very, very positive, optimistic about the future. I think it's going to look different.
Yeah, it'll be different.
And I'm not afraid of the cleansing cycle. We're going to continue to go through this. There's no blacksmiths anymore. If anybody noticed, they were cleaned out of the cycle, more efficient, more innovative. It's going to continue to happen, and we'll be fine.
If you were a young fella right now, or a young girl, the trades is a place to go, isn't it?
Yeah. I tell people all the time, learn a skill that the computer can't replace.
Yeah.
Robots can't do landscaping, to my knowledge.
No.
That job was going to be here forever.
Yep.
Serving.
Not going to fix the plumbing in someone's house.
No. You're not going to frame a house with a robot. I mean, there's things that, there's art still that artificial intelligence can't replace.
Yep. Be your own boss. You can be your own boss with all that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And I told a young person the other day, I said, get a squeegee, a bucket of water, and some vinegar and a towel. You go start your own business because people will pay you to clean their windows.
No doubt. No doubt.
I said, if you find a neighborhood with ranch houses, you don't even need a ladder.
So you're already saving money.
Right, exactly. So there's I think the initiative and the innovation of this country is that's why we're the greatest country in the world to live in. Where else would you want to live? Yep. And we just have to work through it. Yep. I tell you one of the last things I tell you is I believe we all live in guardrails. We set the left and the right guardrail of our lives, upper and lower control limits, whatever you want to call it. And we all choose to go down this road with guardrails. And some of us go right down the center very comfortably. And some of us, like me, every once in a while bang into the side. And we learn from it, right? Some people bang into the side all the time. I think right now our country is kind of hitting the guardrails. Yep. We got to get back to center. We'll get back to center. The whole pandemic and social unrest, all that stuff, we're just banging in the guardrails. Leadership and everybody, we'll get back.
You'll find a new center point.
Yeah.
Right? Find a new center point.
And the road may look different, but that's kind of my notion. Yeah. And this country has never stopped moving forward. Yep. You hit the guardrails pretty hard, World War or whatever, you just come out of it and keep moving forward.
Keep moving.
So that's
I think that's the key. Yeah. Keep moving.
And I love helping people. If I can help you, I'll help you. If I can, I'll tell you I can't.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, hey, I appreciate you taking the time coming in here. I know you're busy, and you definitely are. You're full of passion. That comes across. So thanks for taking the time and coming in. I thought we talked about a lot of good stuff, interesting stuff.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. It's always fun to talk about it. And I enjoyed it very much. Appreciate the time.
Well, hey, thanks for tuning in, and we appreciate you listening to these shows. If you like shows like this, let me know. Reach out, dharsh@danharsh.com. Let me know the type of shows you like. Hit subscribe. We'd like to hear from you. And once again, thanks for tuning in.